Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Need Some Introduction. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing, primarily, I think, the season finale, possibly series finale, we'll have to wait and see, of the show Lucky, which we've been discussing here over the course of the past 2 months or so. And joining me for the conversation, as usual, is Darren. But you've seen a whole bunch of other things in common, so we'll probably be kicking off the episode discussing some of the other things we've been watching. Darren, how you feeling? How you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty good there, Victor. Yeah, it's good to follow what everybody has been watching on this the Patreon that you've set up. I can actually just pick and choose and see what people are looking at and where people's attentions are going. And so it's helped shape my viewing habits as well. It's really good.
Yeah, thanks for pitching the Patreon, but a lot of conversations there. Very much enjoying that. Oh, by the way, I've already brought this up on the Patreon, but anybody else out there who is from the UK who can help me with this, Darren, have you been watching the Ted Lasso show, the new season?
I've only seen the first episode.
I had only seen the first episode when we discussed it a few weeks back, and I just caught up on it. But in the second episode, and I think in the third, is a running gag. Every morning he gets up and he puts on the local news, and there's some absolutely outlandish story, like leading it off, and they act like completely calm about it, like nothing. They go like, here's London's new celebrity chef, and he's a chimpanzee. There's a chimpanzee cooking. And then later on, he puts the thing on and he goes, we have this girl who won some fifth grader who won some class, some prize, who claims that she has incontrovertible proof that God does not exist. And that the other co-host is like, oh, fascinating. And they just like, it's just like all these little asides. And I asked anybody else from the UK, like, what is this joke about? Like, are the morning shows notorious for having crazy stories on every morning? But anyway, I assume that's what they're mocking there, but I guess I don't have that cultural context. So
that's classic. Yeah, we have those morning shows here. I must admit, I never, ever watched them. But I'm not sure what news that they're broadcasting.
I mean, we have them here too, like the Today Show and these other famous shows. But and I'm sure they're probably syndicated around the world, even if you have different hosts. But they, I mean, like in general, it's just kind of the local headlines and the weather, and they don't have celebrity chimpanzee chefs and such. So I assume this is something that's more a styling in England, but I'm not sure. Okay, another thing, you had seen something and you immediately posted it on Patreon, I believe it was. Now I'm getting confused where I'm having these different conversations. I think it was on Patreon that you immediately, and I had seen it the same day, we both saw The End of Oak Street.
Yes, The End of Oak Street. Oh, it was kind of on my radar. I feel like we talked about it in the last couple of weeks that we were maybe interested in seeing it, but I just thought it was just another dinosaur blockbuster. I had an afternoon free. The youngest kid was like, what are we going to do, Dad? Are we going to play video games all day? I'm like, no, that's silly. Let's go do something. We went out and we saw The End of Oak Street, and I got to blow this movie up. I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was a thrill ride from start to finish. I thought it had lots of stuff to say. I thought it was very deep in some aspects, and it also let a few little mysteries go, which you could start thinking about afterwards. This film is not just a big Hollywood blockbuster. I think it was actually filmed on a modest budget, about $80 million. The CGI dinosaur effects are brilliant. They're fantastic. It's the best Jurassic Park movie since Jurassic Park. And it's also just a fantastic Spielbergian type 80s film that is actually scary and actually introduces kids to challenging themes that really affected me. And I must admit, I was quite affected halfway through this movie when something happens, and I was quite affected at the end. I enjoyed this movie so much. What did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it as well. I do see the themes that are there. I totally agree with you. I think if anything, I unqualifiedly recommend the film. And I'm surprised that it has had pretty mixed audience reaction, especially because the audience seemed to be very into it when I was watching it. So I'm surprised that the word of mouth and the grades on these different sites are relatively low, considering that people seem to be really into it. Not only the horror, but the comedy here too. Like there's some very dark comedy. I think there's a scene where someone mistimes a jump. I'll just say that, which was one of the biggest laughs I've had. I can remember having. It's absolutely hilarious.
So good.
But my primary interest in seeing this was because it comes from, now I'm going to forget his name, but the director, Mitchell. Oh man, Cameron Mitchell. Oh, I can't remember his name now.
I'm going to say David Robert Mitchell.
Robert Mitchell.
Like
okay.
David Robert Mitchell. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. And but I have been a big fan of his two previous films, It Follows, which pretty much everybody unanimously considers a modern masterpiece, and Under the Silver Lake, which I love, but everybody hates, like passionately despises. But I actually think it's a really fascinating film and very subversive. Both of those films, very subversive and kind of dark when you investigate the thoughts in them. And I was kind of like, what's he going to do with this film? And it seemed like very straightforward. And what I would say is I loved it, and I loved the experience of watching it because it really was pretty straightforward. You're right that it kind of, it explores like the fantasy of the 80s of moving to the suburbs in that Spielbergian early 80s Amblin movie time. And that it's like, they present, oh, what a happy family. Look how happy you all are. And then we find out that everybody's kind of has there's these internal tensions within the family. And then very much like those Amblin films, right? Something crazy happens and it brings the family together. So it's very much in the mold of those old films, even if there is a little seasoning on it. But I'm curious to get some of those deeper themes you brought up, because for me, aside from enjoying the film and enjoying the ending, by the way, which I think they reshot, and I thought it was really satisfying, I have to say, that although people complain about it, and we can get into that if we want to do spoilers a little bit, but I really thought the ending was really satisfying. But what were those deeper themes, if you don't consider them spoilers, that you want to get into?
Yeah, I just thought that it was interesting because, as you say, it's all very happy families at the start. It's sun-drenched. It's like a block party. All the families are together. But then you find out that mum and dad are probably breaking up.
Right.
And I think divorce is a big theme in 80s films. And I know growing up in the 80s, my parents are still together, luckily, thankfully. But that threat of your family breaking apart was very real back then.
And always, in the Spielberg movies, right? You think about E.T., where that's about divorce in a way, right? It's the fact that he has an absent dad, and that's kind of what the bonds him to E.T. in the first place.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool, and I thought that was really interesting to kind of to watch. And also, there's another theme of like your family needs to stick together. You've got no one else. There's some fantastic wide shots of the neighborhood as it pans across, following our family in the middle of the screen. And then in the corners of the screen, you see giant dinosaurs just kind of sneaking around, and also other families getting absolutely slaughtered
Yes.
by whatever is there.
Right.
And you're like, okay, but we're with this family. We're sticking with these guys. We don't actually care about anyone else, but we've got to survive ourselves, which I thought was a really interesting idea.
That was interesting, that the family hunkers down back in their home, and metaphoric, a big metaphor here, right? They like take the house apart to like board up the windows and such. But then they open a window, and the creepiest scene for me, I mentioned this in my Letterboxd review, but I'm like, I don't have an aversion to snakes, but I did have an aversion to snakes in this movie.
Well, I do have an aversion. That was bloody terrifying, this bloody snake in it. I had to make sure all my doors and windows were locked tight when I went to bed that night. My God.
How did your daughter deal with this? Because as you mentioned, this is PG-13, by the way, and kind of shockingly PG-13. I'm like, wow, there's like some really bloody action here in this movie.
There really is. Halfway through, there's quite a shocking scene, which I did not think that they could show with this kind of rating. My kid was fine with it because I've shown her many kind of kid-friendly horror movies over the years. So she was kind of rolled with it, but I was quite shocked that they showed what they showed. Not only what they didn't show, but just the reaction from some of the people in the frame was really just terrifying and so sad. There is a cool bit, minor spoiler, there's a cool bit of they come across a couple of dinosaurs having sex.
Yes, that's a very funny sequence.
She looked at me, she's like, Dad, that dinosaur has two heads. Until she finally worked it out. But yeah, great audience reaction all through this movie. The audience wasn't big because everyone was at Spider-Man and the Odyssey.
Right.
Still.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a full cinema, but everyone really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a blast. And I mean, maybe we don't do spoilers because I don't want to spoil the movie, but it's the ending is worth discussing just for all the potential paradoxes it might be creating.
Yes, I know what you're saying there. And I was quite shocked that I saw that at the end and nothing was said about it. And I walked out of the cinema going, hang on, did everyone see what I just saw?
I like that, though, that they didn't delve into it. They just kind of left it hanging there. But it makes you ask other questions as well about how everything resolves. So it appears like, oh, everybody gets a happy ending. But like, wait a second. It's intriguing. Intriguing. But I liked it a lot. And I think that it's unfortunate that it didn't do that well. But it is modestly budgeted. And I think this will find an audience eventually. Oh, by the way, Anne Hathaway is fantastic in this movie. I just want to say that.
She's so good. She's having a killer year. She's having a killer career, I think. She's just everywhere, it seems.
Did you see Mother Mary, I think it was called? Have you seen this?
I haven't seen it yet. No, it's on my list. I kind of want to, but I'm a little bit scared of what lies there for me.
I think it's on Hulu now. I think it's available on Hulu. And I don't know, I'd be curious to see what you thought about it because she gives a great performance. Michaela Cole also gives great performance. This is a film I can't recommend to anybody, but it worked for me. And but I mean, I thought maybe you'll like it because the music is really good. In the theater, it was really good. Again, this might be one of those things that in the movie theater, the music was such a huge part of what worked for me. Like literally having like a visceral reaction to it. Maybe it doesn't hit as hard at home video. I don't know. But the visuals are incredible. Her performance is fantastic. So if you're a big fan of Anne Hathaway, I can't guarantee you're going to like the movie, but you're going to want to see its performance, I think. And I'm talking about both movies. So definitely Oak Street, but I'm talking about Mother Mary as well. Which, like I said, completely non-mainstream movies, just to be clear. But I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, I'm waiting till I get a chance just with the house by myself so I can just turn it up because I know the music is going to be, really affecting in that thing.
I forget who Charlie XCX wrote some of the music, but they also have other musicians. And then the producer, it's interesting. It's like pop music, but it's like very goth. I really like the music in there. And by the way, I listened to the music. This is why I say maybe it doesn't hit as hard. I listened to music when I got home and didn't really love it on my Spotify mix, but it's different hearing it in theaters. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play, honestly.
I think FKA Twigs is another artist in there as well.
Yes. Yeah. She's in the movie and she also does some of the music. Yes, correct.
Yeah, I like some of her stuff. It's pop music, but it's quite subversive.
Exactly. Yes, it's similar. Yeah, and she's actually, she performs. She's actually pretty good in it as well. Small part, though. Small part. What else do we have? I have another recommendation for you, really briefly. I was just thinking about this movie, that one that kind of slipped between the cracks, that I don't think I brought it up at all, was a movie that came out in May, kind of got buried in the middle of all those giant films that came out that surprised people, like not only the blockbusters, but like Devil Wears Prada, another Anne Hathaway performance, of course. But, the Obsession and all that stuff that happened in May and the failure of the Star Wars film. So in the midst of all that, there was a smaller film that came out called Is God Is? Did you hear about this movie?
I know the title, but I can't picture it. No.
It's on Hulu now, and it's first-time director. She's also a theater writer. It's based on a play. I can't imagine how this film is a play, by the way, because the film is very visual. It's about these two daughters. Sterling K. Brown plays the villain here, and he has a small part, but very powerful. And these two girls, who I've not seen in anything before, they were set on fire when they were kids, and that one is not that scarred, just like one arm. The other one is very disfigured by the fire. And their mother is Vivica Brown from the Kill Bill film. Very important that it's Kill Bill, because this is a revenge film with a lot of style, very reminiscent of Kill Bill. And these daughters are on a revenge mission because their mother is dying. The mother is severely burned as well. And these two sisters are on this like road trip of revenge. And it feels like the 1970s style exploitation film. It's very stylish, has incredible music, wonderful music. And it's just really a lot of style. For me, on my Letterboxd, I only give it like 3 stars because some of it's just like budgetary limitations. They can't really pull off some of the stuff they try to pull off. And the ending doesn't fully work for me, even though it's got a really good performance in there. And, but like style to burn, and no pun intended. And and I can't wait to see what this director, what she writes and directs next. So definitely very interesting. And it's on Hulu, so anybody can watch it now if they want to.
Yeah,
I just
cool.
got the
Be good to
notification
see
today,
Sterling.
by the way. I was thinking about this. I'm like, I should recommend this on the podcast. Totally forgot about it. And I literally got the push notification from Hulu like right before we recorded. So I'm like, oh, I got to bring it up. It's available on Hulu.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Sterling K. Brown in something different to Paradise.
Yeah, he's great in this performance and very different from you're used to seeing him in his more heroic roles. And maybe one brief thing to bring up before we get to Lucky is Reacher. So you've seen the first 3. I've seen all 4 of the available episodes. The fourth episode for me was, we're very much in the middle of the season. Not the standout of the free. It's totally fine, by the way. Still got good fights, good action sequences. Everything's fine in episode 4, but it doesn't have that real visceral hit that I felt those first 3 episodes were just like, it was just like eating a bag of potato chips. It was so yummy.
And what a surprise. Reacher gets to bed the beautiful Indonesian journalist. I mean, I could not pick that from the immediate time that I saw her on screen. Yeah, really enjoying it. Yeah, the first 3 are just fantastic. There's a little bit of a deeper conspiracy, as always. It seems like their budget for music has gone up for this season. Mm-hmm. Because there's a whole lot of recognizable tunes. I think the last episode I saw had The Doors, People Are Strange in the closing credits, which can't be cheap. So yeah, really enjoying it. I almost pressed play on episode 4 last night, but I was like, let's just savor it. If I watch this now, there's a whole 7 days before I can watch it again. So I just, I'm keeping that for the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, watch it on the weekend or just watch 2 next week because like I said, 4 is very middle. There's a lot of, there's some investigation. You kind of clear some suspects that you think might be involved. They clear them pretty quickly. And then there's some big chase and there's some, more action. But what do you think of the mystery? I'm very curious. I'm afraid that the mystery is going to disappoint me. But the idea that every single time someone's interrogated and they're like dead to rights, they decide to commit suicide. I'm like, what could this mystery be that you would rather throw yourself off a building than have a conversation about it? So I'm very curious. I'm probably going to be disappointed, but I am very curious about this mystery in a way that I haven't been, honestly, in previous Reacher seasons.
Yeah, I'm interested. I mean, it's quite funny. Every time a suspect comes up, you're like, oh, it's got to be them. It's got to be them. And then it's maybe it's not them. So yeah, I'm cool. I'm very interested in why this lady put on her winter jacket to get on the hot subway. And yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I think it's funny how the show just all of a sudden stops every now and again to do a big bit of exposition, a big bit of recapping what the whole conspiracy is. And I kind of just doze off during that bit. It's like I don't really care about all the machinations of it. I just want to see Reacher do his thing. When's that happening? Oh, it's happening right now. Let's do it.
And that's, by the way, what happens this week. There is a long exposition where that this whole entire conversation is laying everything out for you for the back half of the season, and I completely tuned it out. I'm like, I'll know it when it's important. I just tuned out that entire 7-minute conversation. I don't really care. But I just
and the actors, they're doing their best to get out all these lines of dialogue, but you can just see on their faces they're like, "Oh, all right, I've just got to get through this."
Except for Reacher, who just has the same blank stare at all times, no matter what he's doing. He could be murdering somebody. Could be someone could put a gun to his head. He could be racing down the street. Always has exactly the same expression.
And he's always hungry. He never turns down a free feed.
He weighs 250 pounds, so he needs to keep feeding himself. He keeps packing on the mass. One thing we should talk about, I was going to go to Lucky, but then I realized we have to talk about this too, because it's going to be what we're going to be covering going forward, at least for the next few weeks. We'll see how far we get into it. But it's Lanterns on HBO, which, of course, everybody on our Patreon seems to be watching the show. Understandably, it's the next big HBO prestige series. And, obviously based on, it's a big deal, right? You have Lindelof behind the scenes, very big creative forces behind the scenes. It's an attempt here to keep this DC experiment, which seems to already be wobbling like 1 year into this whole thing. But what did you think of episode 1 of Lanterns?
Yes. So it looks like DC are straddling a tone. They were criticized in the past for going very serious, like with the Batman and other kind of things like that, the Penguin. And then lately they've gone quite lighter with Superman and the other was it the Green Lanterns or some type of core that was in that Superman film. That was really exciting. And this one, they'd got a foot in both camps. I wasn't overly thrilled with it, I must admit, but it's a pilot and it's setting the groundwork for what's to come. And it was definitely heavy Watchmen vibes at the start. And also, everyone's saying True Detective, which I guess I can see. True Detective was a long time ago for me. But yeah, Aaron Pierre is his name. He's fantastic, incredible on-screen presence, just this smoldering dude. You know that he's going to play a big part in things to come. And the other guy, Kyle Chandler, he plays a real dick in this, doesn't he? I mean,
he's so much fun.
Which I understand is quite familiar to the comic book character. So yeah, he's pretty funny. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it feels like prestige television, but the first episode kind of left me a little bit numb and didn't really do a whole lot for me. A little bit of No Country for Old Men. Maybe that's just because Kelly Macdonald is in it. Mm-hmm. Small town. It feels very interesting that this guy is like an interstellar traveler but he's stuck in this small town now, and there's a mystery in a small town. He's trying to like pull it right back. So yeah, I'm interested to see episode 2 for sure.
Yeah, I was curious to see this. I think it's really well made, and the interrogation scene in the prison is a lot of fun. The way it all unwinds, and the Kelly Macdonald being so irritated that he turns out to be right because he's such a dick. And but Chandler's having a great job, doing a great job. So much fun. Aaron Pierre, who I loved in Rebel Ridge, doesn't get to do much now. He's just kind of like the surly guy who I guess he gets to do something. But he seems to be just mostly like arms folded, irritated. What I brought up on the Patreon earlier today is I was able to follow this show, right? And I have never read a Green Lantern comic. I didn't even watch that terrible Green Lantern movie. I just kind of know what the Green Lantern mythology is, probably mostly from watching like Super Friends when I was a kid. That's probably like a gateway for a lot of people of our generation. But I never really engaged with the Lanterns mythology in any way. There's like different colored lanterns. The one's like fear, one's on anger. The green one is creativity or something. I don't remember, honestly. But my point is that they really like Watchmen. They really throw you in the deep end here, right? They just assume that, when he drives off the road at the beginning and he just is walking down the street afterwards, we're just going to know that he has this ability of creating things with the ring. And they do explicitly say that, only one person can have the ring at a time. So that kind of does get explained. But then all of a sudden we see, like, imagine like having no familiarity with this or knowing superhero series or just watching it because it's the HBO premiere this week. And all of a sudden Kyle Chandler is flying through the air. I'm like, and by the way, I'm not surprised by any of this, but I'm like, if you're just Joe Schmo, would this be like incredibly alienating to see this episode of the show? But I could be wrong about that because I made the example that with Watchmen, I had read the comics and seen the previous movie adaptation when I watched that series. So right away, I know when the squids are raining down and stuff, what that represents. So I know all this stuff because I've read the comics. My wife watched that show with me. She knew nothing about Watchmen. She has never followed up on it in any way, but she loved the show. So maybe you just have the confidence that even watching it and having all these unanswered questions, maybe the more normal people out there who are watching this just know that the story will eventually come together. And maybe that's what they're going to do with this show as well.
I hope so. It does feel like it's got that confidence that they know what they're doing and that people will follow. That scene early in the show where the father shoots an apple off the kid's head,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit worried about that. I'm like, why would a dad do that to your son? But I think there's deeper meaning there, and I think this kid has had this fascination with the lantern. And he's almost been bred to become the next lantern. Yeah, which I think. But I'm sure we're going to... It's set in 3 time periods, which is another little challenge for the viewer. So you're going to have to follow these 3 time periods. One thing that also stood out, which was a bit odd, was this old guy who's the head of like his own militia, very like Midwestern type dude, and he's got like a South Asian wife, which was a bit odd to me. I thought that character was I'm sure she's got more things to say and more of a big part to play, but I thought that was a bit odd that a character like that would have a wife like her, who Aaron Pierre has already had a bit of a piece of.
Well, J.D. Vance has a South Asian wife, so you never know. Maybe that's the correlation they're making. But that's Derek Dillahunt, by the way, who's always great and everything. So what a cast we have here, by the way. You have Kyle Chandler playing Hal Jordan, who's the current Green Lantern. Then, spoilers, everybody, skip ahead from what I'm about to say if you haven't watched this episode and plan to watch it. But we find out at the end of the episode, of course, that it's now X number of years later, 9 years later, something like that. And he's back in the same exact town, Aaron Pierre now playing John Stewart, who is probably the most famous for our generation, probably the one that most people are familiar with as Green Lantern. So we know he's going to become Green Lantern because Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan is dead and the ring is missing. That's the big cliffhanger at the end of the episode 1.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Who's got the ring? Yeah, I always thought Green Lantern's power that he could conjure anything with this ring is a little bit hokey, a little bit silly, and it is silly in this show too, where he just makes a dollar bill so he can play the jukebox. Like, it's all a bit silly, some of it, but we just have to go with it.
Well, I think that's the joke of it, by the way, because that's why I always thought that Green Lantern was kind of cheesy, was that, it's like he makes a giant bat and he bats the bad guys away or something like that. So it's kind of these silly ways he uses their powers. These are in the cartoons and even in previous adaptations. So that always kind of seemed like kind of silly because they always had to make it outlandish to make it more visually interesting, I guess. They're really grounding things here where, he just makes like kind of a force field around everybody. Or I like that Aaron Pierre, when he was like, how did he survive the car crash? He's not the most imaginative person in the world. He just bubble wrapped himself, and that's how he survived. But we don't even see that. But my favorite thing, actually, I thought this was hilarious, that Hal Jordan specifically says you have to be very careful. We don't just use the power whenever we want to. We just don't fly everywhere. We only use it when you have to think about why you're using the power. And then he uses it to like make a dollar bill to play the jukebox. I think it's very intentionally, the joke is that he uses it for very like meaningless things. Like very, he could just find a dollar bill or ask somebody for a dollar bill. So, although it is a magic dollar bill, right? That keeps playing the same song over and over again.
I do have to give credit to DC because every one of their TV series lately is very different. So you got the Peacemaker, which is super different to this. The Penguin was very different. So, and this also feels different to those two. So kudos to them for taking a punt and doing things a little bit differently, because I'm interested to see what happens for sure.
We also have, I forget what the character's name is, but Nathan Fillion from the Superman film, who plays another Lantern with this horrible haircut, by the way, who is going to be in this show. Like this, they're in the same universe. So he's in this show. They showed him in the trailer for next episode or whatever. I don't remember if it's next episode or if like a season trailer, but whatever they showed, those scenes they showed at the end, he's there. So it's not like these are two unconnected storylines. Apparently this is the world where Superman exists because they're in a shared, they share a character. So I assume it's all in the same universe, but it is, again, like, how do you get those two tones to meet? I'm interested. I'm cautiously optimistic about it, but honestly, this episode 1 did not knock my socks off, but I'm curious. Love
that was my next.
Love seeing everybody. Love seeing Jason Ritter. Love seeing Gary Dillahunt. Love seeing, Kelly Macdonald. So and the cast alone is the reason to watch the show. So.
She's just so good. I mean, I remember her from Trainspotting. I watched Trainspotting in the cinema, too young, and she was just a knockout. And the fact that she's still doing great work is just, it warms my heart for sure.
All right. I think that is everything I wanted to bring up. Unless you have anything else that we have to finally talk about Lucky.
Let's talk about Lucky. No, I don't think I've got anything else. I mean, that was my full week of viewing.
It's quite a week as it was. So we get my notes for this week's episode. So first of all, Lucky, I predicted this. The show's going to end. Lucky's on a beach, her feet in the water, and that's exactly the ending we got. So spot on with that one. Also predicted in my wishy-washy predictions last week, where I'm like, my prediction is that, what's her name? Now I'm forgetting. Priscilla is going to kill Whitaker. And but then I pulled my punch at that point because I'm like, oh no, they're going to make another season. Nothing's going to happen in the finale. But in my original prediction, when I thought the show was going to wrap up, and I think maybe we start with that, is that the story did wrap up, right? Like, I mean, it potentially could become another season, but it would be a completely different story with the same characters, which is exactly how they should play it if they would play it. So I was actually pretty happy with the way the story resolved itself. Priscilla does check. She does kill Whitaker as we expected. Yeah. So what'd you think about the wrap up? You were worried that we wouldn't get a clean ending. Well, how'd you feel about this episode?
Okay. So I wasn't overly thrilled with the whole showdown, if you will, because there was not that many characters involved. The FBI, there's only 2 FBI characters that are overseeing this showdown, which I thought was a little bit silly. Mm-hmm. And it kind of all resolved very similar to the way we thought it would. Yep. So the only other character that hadn't really done much was the head of the FBI unit. And we guessed that he was probably behind the whole thing, and he was. So that wasn't a great big surprise.
Especially because he's like a recognizable actor. We're like, well, why'd they just get that guy to do one scene? Because he's not just doing one scene.
Exactly right. Yeah, and I thought the whole fight on top of the oil tanker or whatever it was fine, but it wasn't necessarily that thrilling, and I didn't think that Rand should be able to push the guy around, even though he's an old guy. I mean, come on. But did you pick it? Did you say that Priscilla was going to kill William Fichtner's character, Whitaker?
I had said that. Well, originally I'd said probably the previous week, that's what I wanted to happen on the show. And then last week, I think you were asking for predictions, and I'm just like, oh, if this is just season 1, no one's gonna die, But I wouldn't say my original prediction. My original hope was that Priscilla would kill off Whitaker. So I was happy with that.
And
what it comes down
didn't
to.
she ever?
Yes, exactly. So I did enjoy that.
That was pretty cool. On Google, it still says mini-series. So whether there's a second season of this, I mean, is yet to be determined, I think. But going all the way to the end, I was very satisfied with the way that it wrapped up. It made a lot of sense of how Lucky treated her father, and the whole kind of teddy bear thing, I was working out as it was happening. I was like, yes, that's a perfect way to end it. Yes, she knows her dad is going to stay true to himself and chuck her by the side of the road, as he's done, unfortunately, for her whole life. He's never given her that safety that she craves. So I thought it wrapped up really nicely and quite satisfyingly for me. But I just thought I was a little bit disappointed in that whole showdown scene, which I thought could have been much more dynamic. But good old Dutch. How did Dutch get there? How did he get there? I mean, yeah, he goes, what did she say? She goes, oh, you weren't invited. He said, oh, I think you wanted me there. I just thought you wanted me there anyway. But he somehow got himself involved in all of it and became a little bit of a hero that we love from Dutch.
I was very split on this episode because it really was my general relationship with the show, probably like from the midpoint on, after I really loved those first couple episodes, that just like last week, when there wasn't a lot of chasing around, which had been my favorite part of the show before, all the character stuff was so strong. And by the way, it's strong here again. Priscilla in the car with Whitaker, finally talking about their son. Great conversation, him kind of saying, well, I had a really bad dad. He like beat my emotions out of me, but then still so callous when he says, well, that's why I chose to never have children. And she's like, you did have children, by the way, or a child, at least one. So, but he's like, that wasn't my choice, right? So their scene's really good. When she kills him, that was really good. When she goes and meets with Whitaker, and Whitaker's like, I want you to pay for killing my partner. And she's like, well, I didn't pull the trigger, but she's like, yeah, but you still are responsible for it. And her emotion there, Rand's emotion there, is really good. So again, it proves that those scenes are really good. The way that, again, like that what we saw last week in those interactions with her dad, where there is this, the bond is strong, and he really does feel like he is mentoring her and being a good dad, but he can't help but push it too far and mess it up again. And we see him now that he's kind of off the hook. You see that manipulative persona emerging, and he's trying to ingratiate himself with her. And right. And I actually thought that she was going to wake up and he's going to disappear with the money. So she, again, was a step ahead. So that was really clever. And so those scenes between them, father and daughter, really strong. Basically all the two-handers, those scenes between the different people work, most of them. But then, like you said, on the flip side, it's all the logistical things I've been criticizing, that she goes out there for this meeting and has only the two cops, and she like reveals that the sergeant or whoever, the captain, is the mole via her, and just hopes that Rand kills. Like, what if he gets to drop on Rand when she announces that? Then she's just dead, right? Like, I mean, that seems like a horrible plan. And Rand Rand, who's been smart up until now, does a really stupid thing, not having any kind of backup. And Lucky makes a really stupid, I guess she's lucky. Well, there we go. But it's still dumb to put herself in that situation, and just assumes that Priscilla is going to let her get away with the money or whatever. There's a lot of just kind of hand waving, a lot of stuff in the show. And especially because we've seen Priscilla be so ruthless, I think they needed to cut out the scene where Priscilla ruthlessly orders that innocent guy murdered, because it's very hard to square the circle where she's like that, and then she's just going to let Lucky off. He'd want you to have, and my son would want you to have that money. No problem. You can take it. It seems a little like, I don't know about that. Wouldn't she want that money? Maybe split it with Lucky or something. I don't get all that. Although she might be running a giant organization, criminal organization. So I'm not sure how that all plays out.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I mean, she just let him go. Yeah, I don't know. And they were just standing around after she shot Whitaker. They're just standing around in that zone. You don't know that the FBI hasn't got 100 cars coming.
You hear the sirens coming eventually, right? Like you could have 1 minute. The show's done that multiple times, by the way, where like there's like suddenly like a lot of people talking when it's like the cops are 2 minutes away. What are you doing?
And it's like there's one way out of that oil refinery, but they're not hurrying. They're just like doing their thing. Yeah, it just didn't have that sense of that danger that I wanted. Yep. Yeah, and then they pull Timothy Olyphant's character. He's just there the whole time, just around from. They're just hiding him around. Yeah, I like to know the geography of a space and where everyone sits and where everyone's exit strategies are. And it was just, as you say, hand wavy. It was just, let's just chuck them there and let's just see what happens.
Yeah, I really thought this was the show had gotten worse as it went along with some of the logistics. And I mean, it's really disappointing for me because I think this show did pretty well in the ratings, it seems to. But I think the show could have been like a really something special if they had figured out some of this stuff. You know, like even the car chase bothered me episodes back was when the show kind of started to lose me a little bit. And it just seemed like, you know, the logistics of that didn't seem to make sense to me either. So, I mean, a lot of this seemed pretty questionable. And yeah, it's a little disappointing, unfortunately. You know, I don't think we've mentioned this here on in our conversations before, but how impressive is the de-aging on Oliphant's in his flashbacks?
Yeah, I really noticed it this episode. I heard you mention it before and I didn't pick it up, but yeah, this episode for sure. Just nice, smooth skin. His skincare routine was fantastic. Going back in time. Yeah, clever. I guess that type of thing, that type of CG is quite easy to do these days and quite subtle, but yeah, quite effective as well.
I guess also because there is so much footage of this guy when he was that age, it's pretty easy to tell the AI to just make it look a little more like that.
He's an interesting dude. I remember first seeing him in that movie Go, which was kind of marketed as like Pulp Fiction light, which I really liked that movie because I was kind of in that scene at the time. Yep. But he had his hair was going back at that time, and that was over 20 years ago, and he's still got the same hair. So I don't know if he's had plenty of work done on his hair, but
he might have had had some grafts done. Yeah.
I always thought he went bald, but I think he was in that Hitman movie where he was actually bald.
Oh, yeah, shaved his head. It's true. That movie's not good either, but he's figured out that he is like this character actor. Well, I guess, I was going to say he's not a leading man in general, but he's so great in supporting roles all the time. But I mean, he did Justify, right? That's a leading role. So that's such a great performance there too.
Yep, no, I'm all for him though. He seems like he's constantly working. So yeah, I just like his swagger and I like the way he delivers lines, and I liked to see his comeuppance at the end of this.
I also like the fact that I laughed to myself that in the final moments here, when her feet are in the water, that they play a Phil Collins cover, one of these slowed down covers, Take Me Home, which made me think like, oh, are we going to have a crossover with Paradise? That would be interesting. I tried to imagine in my mind, how can we cross over Lucky and Paradise?
I think Lucky would be very handy at the end of the world. I think, it'd be great to have her next year.
Her and that the assassin in that show could hang out together.
Yeah, Dutch would be handy as well.
Dutch would be very handy for sure.
I just love how Dutch is he's shooting people, he's beating up people, and his sunglasses stay firmly fixed to his face. Yeah. So cool. Yeah, the sunglass game is really good in this show.
I like them drowning the guy in the oil puddle. That was interesting.
Yeah, that's nice as well.
Another thing I was thinking about is like Whitaker has been untouchable, and it seems like he's incredibly rich. He's not just some gangster. He's a legitimate business guy who can get like Priscilla released from prison with the snap of his fingers. So he has real political pull, and now he's just dead. And Priscilla seems to be like getting like, isn't anyone going to figure out? I mean, so many questions. Like, okay, even if they have evidence against Whitaker somehow because of the recording, then she did murder her. Rand knows she murdered him, I should say, that Priscilla murdered him. So that just is okay. Like, I don't understand. Priscilla's out for some reason. She supposedly was going back to jail, and now she's murdered this guy. Rand knows she murdered this guy, and she's like allowed to just keep walking around. Like, I don't understand. How do you explain all of that? she's just chilling at home at the end of the show.
She's chilling at home looking at a pool, and Rand just walks up in her lounge room to have a chat to her. Like,
I think that's Whitaker's place. I think that's Whitaker's place, though, right? So it's like she's like now. It's like I think symbolically she like now runs the show. But why? Like, wouldn't she just go back to jail? Like, what is? Why is she? What's going on? I don't understand.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, Whitaker's he's kind of a billionaire. And he just rocks up to this showdown with one guy in the truck and maybe a couple of other guys that have dragged Timothy Olyphant's character there. And that's it. It's like, and he knows that, I don't know. I think he trusted that FBI agent too much.
I mean, none of it makes any sense. Even if he trusted that guy, like he would want to have like someone else because he's there with Rand. Why didn't he like kill Rand before they even got up there? Right? Like, why would he just hope everything went to what? Nothing makes any sense at that end. It's just is a mess. It's a total mess. I'm actually getting annoyed now talking it out because it makes less sense the more I think about it. Not only what happens to Priscilla at the end, but just the whole, just the way that whole situation plays out. Why wouldn't he have not brought Rand with him? Why wouldn't he bring another cop with him that is under his thumb? And then they would, because of course, by the way, whoever showed up to take Oliphant's character earlier on, he had other cops or other criminals, whoever were working with him. So why wouldn't he just go with those people instead of going with Rand and getting in position and playing it straight and hoping that how would that have played out that in a good way? Like, I don't understand.
It's not making you feel good trying to make sense of this, is it? I mean, he should have realized that his identity could have become known. So really, he could have just had a gun on Rand the whole time and been able to take care of her if that knowledge came out. Because he's the only one there. He's the only one that can save himself. Yeah, it's getting me a bit angry as well. I prefer to think of the last scene. I really liked the way that she recorded her voice on that bear, and I thought that was really fun. And to see Olyphant's face as he's realizing that what's happened, I thought that was quite cool. And I thought that was a great ending to a mini series. I don't think we need to see another season of this show, but if we do, it's going to become completely different. And hopefully they introduce a few more characters.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, if they do another season of this, I think it could be a better show in the fact that she can be like, she's got her money, chilling on the beach, and everything could be fine. And she could be truly happy with what she says she wants. But maybe there's a little pull of the old life and she doesn't admit it to herself. And then her dad is suddenly in trouble. She needs to go and bail him out. They can pull a heist off together. She can be reluctant, but maybe deep down inside, she really loves it, which I always love those type of heist films anyway, where someone's trying to go straight, but deep down inside, this is what they're good at. They really love doing these jobs. So I always love that type of thing. So it would be fun to again, and maybe the dad ends up this second time around, actually does screw her over and disappears with the money. And it's kind of like this revenge after he's supposedly trying to make amends. There's an interesting dynamic they could play with there. And it could just be like a one-off. They don't have to have, in a way, like having Carrie involved in this story, complicated things. I guess it was necessary, but it just complicated things. But I think you can make it a cleaner version of this if they come back for another season. I don't think this is coming back for another season, to be honest. Yeah,
interesting. Well, the money's gone. She gave the money to Rand at the end, so she's broke.
Oh, that's right. Broke. She does give the money back. Oh, that's right.
They're back with no home and no income and no nest egg or anything. So at least he's out of jail, and at least she hasn't gone to jail. So yeah, I like that. I like what you're saying. I like bringing the father back and having another kind of interaction between them. But they need another scam or another. They need to roll Priscilla again, which I'm not super interested in that, I've got to say.
Yeah, I don't know if they need to. I mean, honestly, I can't imagine them bringing Priscilla back into the fold again. Yeah, but I don't know if they can fix it now. But I mean, these types of dynamics, like in this like, one more job type stories. I love those type of things. So I'd be in favor of that. But that's more me, honestly, just liking that type of story and wanting to see more of it rather than this combination being really perfect. Although, I mean, like I said, last week's episode, I got to say, I thought it was really fantastic. And the show was, I think, in my opinion, always better at the character stuff than at the, action and that type of thing. So anyway, mixed bag. So unfortunate.
Yeah, mixed bag. Yeah, and I guess that this is based on a series of books, isn't it? So it seems like is it one book?
I thought it was just the one, but maybe it is a series, and maybe they do have. So then maybe they would plan to make more of these. That would make sense if that's the case.
I just assume anything is a series these days. You can't just make one and done.
That's like movies, right? If you have a hit, then how many Reacher books are there? Like 20 something. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, they can keep doing that
until he's 70 years old.
As long as he keeps fit, which it looks like he can do that.
All right, Darren. So we will continue to talk about Reacher, and we'll continue talking about Lanterns, and we'll probably still be recording in the middle of the week because we have 2 more weeks of Furious. Are you caught up on Furious, by the way?
Oh, mate, we haven't talked about Furious. I'm all over this show now. It was a bit of a slow starter, but I'm totally caught up, and I'll watch it as soon as it comes out. Yeah. Oh, man, I love it so much. I think there's so much going on there, and these the two female characters are like two sides of a coin. Or almost the same. I'm so stunned at this film, at this series, and I love listening to you guys talk about it, even though it's a bit late to the game. I watch it with my wife. She gets very triggered by this. So she's obviously tapping into some of that female rage that is presented. She enjoys it or likes watching it, but she's always doesn't know how she feels after these episodes, where I just love it. I just love this type of FBI show is really fantastic. And I'm thinking that Kat, she's just the portrayal of that character, the way that actress portrays her is iconic. I think this could be one of the great villains, kind of current TV time. I think she's just so amazing, and there's just so much depth to her that it's really thrilling to watch. So looking forward to the next couple of episodes for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, we got 2 more episodes of that, and it's been a huge hit for us on the podcast as well. Just been growing week over week, which is always a good sign that people are like you catching up and loving the show. And it just gets better from episode to episode. It's pretty incredible. Very rare to see that type of thing. But I joked about this, and maybe it's only a half joke, but you can imagine that character who maybe escapes by the end of the season and has money from, I won't spoil things for people who haven't watched it, but maybe she gets some money and a fake ID, and maybe this is an origin story for like a super villain that for the future. So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, she's on a bit of a death spiral though. And
it seems like, it doesn't seem like it's going that way actually. Yeah.
But I can see it. Yeah. I think things are going to happen with Alice as well. I mean, we can see that she's going to be dragged in, and she's almost the type of cat character, and they could join up at the end, or she could become the villain at the end. I mean, it could go anywhere. I think I'm really interested in it. It's quite fascinating that it's the same makers as Dying for Sex. Is that what you guys were saying? Yeah, which was really interesting. I thought the sex part wasn't that interesting in that, but I thought the dying part in that was
fascinating.
Really, really full on and fascinating for sure. So it's great that those filmmakers can go and do something completely different, but also even more successful. Yeah, it's great.
Well, I mean, that's an incredible pivot for her. That's Liz Merriweather, the showrunner. She went from New Girl, that's her big thing. From New Girl, she went to The Dropout. Was it called The Dropout? The Elizabeth Holmes series on Hulu.
Yeah, I saw a bit of that. Yeah.
And then Dying for Sex, and now Furious. So I'm really curious to see what she does next. I think she's been quite a run.
Yeah,
she started with New Girl, and that's where all the comedy, by the way, there's a lot of comedy in this very dark show, and I think that's where the comedy comes from.
There really is. Nora and her offsider. It's just they're a comedy duo that absolutely hate each other. And they just keep getting one up on each other. It's funny. that there's that comedy in such a serious show, delving into such deep themes like pedophilia, and then you've got this kind of comedy. Yeah, it's stunning.
Yeah, it's a really impressive, and I'm sure it'll get tons of nominations for Emmys next year because, of course, didn't make the cut for this year. It seems like they didn't know what they had on their hands because for them to put it here, like at the beginning of the season, but the ratings have started to come in, and the ratings are growing from week to week. So maybe they just didn't know what they had because I have a feeling this thing's going to get nominated come next year.
Yeah, it feels like that because I really hadn't heard anything about it beforehand, and I haven't really seen much about it since. But I guess people are discovering it, and word of mouth is quite strong.
Yep. All right. Yeah, so we'll talk about that for 2 more weeks. We got Lanterns, like I mentioned. Reacher's still there. Then we have something else premiering in September, which I was going to surprise you with, an Australian show that you might want to check out. So I think that's probably going to be our focus with starting in September. So we'll announce that as we get closer to it.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I've got a little bit of a sense what that might be, but looking forward to a surprise.
It might not be a surprise to you anymore, but it might be a surprise to the audience, though. Another show that's kind of under the radar. So we'll see how that goes.
The only other thing I'm looking forward to is I'm not sure if you saw it. Is this teenage sex and death that kept miasma?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that yet?
It's, you know what? It's still in limited release. I was going to check it out this weekend. It's still not out by me. I think it expands next week. But I did notice that it got a national release in Australia. Did you guys get a chance to see it? No.
I haven't seen it yet. No, it's not at the big cinema chain. It's still at the art house cinemas. But I've heard nothing but great things about it, and the fact that it straddles this horror genre, which we love. Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing it and something different for sure.
Yeah, that's always interesting. That filmmaker always making interesting shows. By the way, did you ever see the director's previous?
Unfortunately, I haven't. I saw the TV glow. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I think I've pressed play a couple of times, but I haven't really stuck with it. So it's there to watch, and I've heard nothing but good things about it.
It didn't really work for me, but I think I mentioned this to you when I saw it. It didn't quite work for me, but it is, I think, going to be an important film, like for a generation of filmmakers, because it is so vibes forward that I think that is going to be something that is going to influence a lot of other filmmakers. And of course, there's a slew of people filmmakers and critics and fans that absolutely love that film. For me, it didn't quite work, but it is fascinating work. So I'm always curious to follow these young filmmakers and see what they do next. But I brought it up because that film was shot in my high school, the high school I went to school.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Did you recognize all the scenes in there?
You know what? I didn't know until after the fact, until the film was out, but I hadn't seen it yet. And then, of course, I did know it when I saw the film, and I absolutely did. There's a tracking shot, and there's a multiple scenes like on the football field, and like I know exactly where that is.
That's funny. That'd bring the memories come flooding back.
Yeah. So it should have hit me even harder, to be honest, with all those scenes in the high school, but didn't quite. But I'm very intrigued to check this one out for sure. All right, Darren, thanks again for the conversation. And we'll talk about the box office. The summer's coming to an end. Some movies coming out. In October, we have, and I'm going to delay you here because I'm going to bring up something else, which is shocking to discover. The Carrie show is coming October 5th, and they're dropping it as a binge. And then 1 week later, Linda Cardellini plays Jason Voorhees' mom in the Crystal Lake series, which they're dropping just 1 week after Carrie. And that's a binge also. Like, how are we supposed to binge all these shows? What are they doing?
That's crazy. Dropping both of those as binges. I mean, does that mean they're not great? What does that mean?
I'm worried. I mean, no, it seems like they must be happy with Flanagan, considering how they've handed him the Exorcist franchise. He's got so many products in the pipeline. He's doing stuff for Prime, Amazon. So it seems that for them to dump Carrie on and as a binge seems like they don't have confidence in it. But I don't know. it seems different. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to read that, to be honest. So.
Yeah, that's really strange because it puts it in the conversation just for that week or two. That's
right.
it. So you can't just go in depth into it. You just kind of binge it and that's it. I love the original Carrie film. I think the remakes haven't really done that much. So yeah, a little bit worried about that. But
all the horror heads, all the horror heads like us I'm going to want to watch Crystal Lake too. So I'm like, how can I binge these 2 shows 2 weeks in a row? Like it's too much.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that Camp Miasma takes the piss out of Friday the 13th.
For sure.
Yeah, so that Crystal Lake, apparently there's rights issues, so they couldn't actually use the words Friday the 13th. I'm not sure if they can use the character of Jason, even though he's in that. But, I mean, I love Linda Cardinelli, whatever her name is. I love her. I love her every time I see her. She's just so lovely. So, yeah, I mean, I'm super interested in that. But to binge it, that's a lot of TV time in a short amount of time.
It's rough. I hope maybe we get like a really bad weather for a couple of days, so we actually get around to sit around and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, true. That's the only way. Or get sick.
You get the flu just so you can watch the show. All right, Darren. We'll a lot of things to talk about in the next couple of months, but we'll leave it there for now. And thanks for the conversation.
Cheers, Victor. Thank you. Have a good week.
Right, you too.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.